There are three reasons why often launch campaigns don't work. And in fact, in this video, we're going to talk about these three reasons, as well as what to do to plan effectively a winning launch campaign. So stay tuned. My name is Simone Vincenzi. I'm the co-founder of GTeX, and we turn experts into authorities. And over the years, I've done more than 400 different launches, from webinar launches to program launches to offer launches. And I'm an experimenter. I love to test things. That's how I am as a person. And when I started going into the realm of launching, I made every single mistake in the books. And now that I teach launching, I can see all the mistakes that other people are making. And this is why I don't want you to make those mistakes as well. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. There are three elements that are often responsible for a lack of results during your launch. Number one is the problem. Number two is the promise. And number three is the offer. Let's start out. A lot of times we think about different audiences. We think about multiple problems that we can solve. And we have the belief that the more problem we solve and the more audiences we serve, then the more chances there are that our offer is actually going to land. Wrong. You want to be very specific about your problem. And I would recommend you to only fix one single problem that your audience have. Of course, your offer will provide multiple solutions to other problems that they have. Unfortunately, if you are not able to communicate the one problem that you solve in an online world, which is incredibly fast, which is incredibly scroll, then your offer is not going to land. Because if I'm watching or listening or viewing your message and I cannot identify immediately the one problem that you're going to solve for me, then I'm more likely going to scroll past, because that ad or that piece of content or that promotional material doesn't really appeal to me. So when you are starting, when you're planning, start with one problem that you want to solve. I'll give you an example. We're working with a client, helping her launch a membership around that will help women over 50 to actually travel the world. Now, one of the key problems and the one problem that we solve is the feeling of isolation, the fear that comes from the feeling of isolation, which means I don't know where to go, I want to travel, but I don't have travel buddies, I'm over 50, I have certain needs. So there is a fear of isolation, and that's why we provide a community. That's it. So everything else helps tackle this fear of isolation. That's the one problem that we are solving. Does this person have multiple problems? Absolutely. We provide multiple solutions? Absolutely. But the one key that we focus on is the fear of isolation. So when you're planning your launch, understand, go back and see, okay, what is the one problem, the biggest problem they have, the one problem that they want to solve. One of our offers, for example, is the Webinar Conversion Accelerator, where we'll help you create a webinar in 14 days. The biggest problem that we solve is lack of leads. Don't you have enough new clients? Come to us. That's the one thing. Not enough new clients? Come to the Webinar Conversion Accelerator. So that's how you can see how you can implement this particular way. So now let's go to option number two, the part number two, and it is your promise. As much as you want one particular problem, that you're solving one particular problem, your program, your offer must fulfill only one promise. Because the moment you make multiple promises, what's going to happen is that, again, nothing is really going to land. And secondly, people might be thinking, this is too good to be true. There's these things, there's too many things for me. I don't think it's possible, or I'm not going to trust it. Well, if you say, this is the one transformation that you're going to have, this is the one solution that I'm going to provide for you, therefore, this is my one promise, this is the one thing that I promise to you, now it's easier for me to, one, trust you, because you're clear, and also it's easier for me to see myself fulfilling it and going through your program, because I know the promise that you're going to give. For example, in our offer launch accelerate, in our webinar conversion accelerator, The promise is you will have a high converting webinar done in 14 days. That's it. That's the promise. You will have a high converting webinar done in 14 days. That's my promise. Of course, I can talk about the benefits that this promise will give to you, but I have one core promise: a high converting webinar done in 14 days. And that's what attracts people, is the clarity of the expectations that what they're going to get. So when you're planning your launch and when you're going through your offer, think about what is the one promise I'm going to make my audience, and then create all your marketing material around that one promise. Which now leads to the third point, because we talked about point number one, the problem, one promise, which links to one offer. Sometimes we think that the more we offer, the easier it's gonna be to get people on board. But remember that the more option you offer to someone, the more they have to reflect and evaluate in which option is going to be the best one for them. So with the more we get them to think, oh, do you want this model, this version or the other version? But when you're creating an effective launch, there is only one choice. Either is a yes or a no. Because you only want to attract the ideal clients for that particular offer and for that particular product. Is a yes or a no. It's very different from having a conversation, maybe having a process where you have a conversation with people and you can create something more bespoke. Here is you create something that almost reads the mind of your ideal clients. And that's why the offer is often what makes or breaks every launch. Sometimes we think it's the lack of audience. Sometimes we think it's the marketing material. But most of the time, if the offer is good enough, you will always have someone that buys. Because they will be thinking, oh my God, I need this and I want this. So instead of focusing on creating multiple offers, which then is going to involve multiple marketing messages and multiple maybe campaigns, focus on creating one offer that solves one problem and that gives one promise. And if you focus on making this offer as good as it can be and improve it over time, then you will always have clients. In fact, we'll be running offers that they run for years. We have our offer launch accelerator, for example, where we get our clients to create and launch offer. When we promote that service and that program, we only promote that program. When we have the webinar conversion accelerator, for example, we only promote that particular offer. There is no different options that they can get. Either you want it or you don't. Now you might be thinking, but what if my audience wants something more bespoke? What can I do about it? Well, that's where we invite people to a conversation. So for example, let's say that you're launching something and you have your one offer that solves one problem with one promise. And then we can invite people on the sales page or on the landing page or on the marketing material and say, hey, if you want something different, then book a call here and we can discuss something for your needs. So we still direct people on one option. We don't let them know the different options that they have, but we let them know, hey, maybe this is not the right 100% right for you. If it's not, then book a call. So then we can discuss it. And that's how during every launch, you can get people that they might want to get involved, they might want to buy, but actually that particular offer that you're promoting in that moment, maybe it's not right for them, but they still want to work with you. So that's how you can leverage one offer that solves one problem with one particular promise. And that's how you can plan a winning launch campaign. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, so please make sure you write your comments and what are you going to do about this now that you know this here below. And until next time, always remember that together we grow exponentially. Ciao.